Relationship mastery. One of your goals going through the youth sport experience is to build a very positive relationship with your child through that experience, to have it be tight and fun and really enjoy it and build a relationship that lasts for generations. A second goal should be to actually build relationships with other sport parents and coaches and have it be a really positive community experience. In order to do that, I want to talk to you briefly about what the greatest relationship coaches in the world teach. And the best out there are some people at the Gottman Institute, which is founded by John Gottman, and they're at the University of Washington. They do amazing stuff on relationships. And when I say it's amazing because it's predictive. In other words, they could videotape to a couple, whether they're just married or whether they're just boyfriend, girlfriend, that type of thing. And they can videotape them for 3 minutes and they can predict with over 95% accuracy whether they'll get divorced. They can look at 3 minutes of video, which is even more amazing to me, and predict with over 90% accuracy whether they'll get divorced or not. And the reason is, again, we talked about this earlier, is because when we create myelin, we don't just create it around skills, we create it around every bit of thinking we do. So we're 98% habitual when you talk to social scientists. So we have these habitual ways of doing everything, including habitual ways of interrelating with other people. So I want to talk to you about what relationship masters, according to the Gottmans, do that's different than relationship disasters. The first thing I need to teach you, though, is that basically the world you see is the world you're conditioned to see because of this, because we're so habitual and everything gets wrapped in myelin eventually. As human beings, just standing here, there's 400 billion bits of information being fired at me. Temperature and light and sound and every other basic sense that I have is taking in information. There's a part of my brain called the reticular activating cortex that filters that down to 2,000 bits. So the world I'm actually experiencing is a 1/2,000,000th of the world that's happening to me because of this myelin in my brain, because of this basic map in my brain that takes in information. So you got to understand that you see the world that you're conditioned to see. You don't see the world as it is. The difference between relationship masters and relationship disasters is that they habitually train themselves to see what's there in the relationship that they have versus what's not there or what's lacking. In other words, if they're looking at their kid that they have a relationship with and they're watching them in hockey practice and they're constantly seeing mistakes or errors or moments, lapses in effort or lapses in concentration, they get very focused on that, and they do what relationship disasters do, which is that becomes their world, and they just can't wait to tell their kid right after practice what a lousy job they did at this or that. When their child's emotional tank is low and they're tired from doing all that hard work and skating around and doing all that stuff, and they end up with a kid that eventually wants to divorce them, versus a relationship master actually looks at what's happening positively and find things to reinforce positively. And then if they actually find something they feel they need to correct, they do it in a ratio of less than 5-to-1, which means they might watch 5 or 10 practices before they point out something that they need to be corrected, that needs to be corrected. And they're not blunt and heavy-handed in their correction either. They treat correction like it's a light little balloon that they're bouncing back and forth with their child. In other words, it gets initiated with a question, like they say something positive about what they saw, and then they say, can I talk to you now about something that might help you perform better later? There's something I noticed that you could probably improve at. Now, I've had my kids say, not right now, and then he'll ask me later, or yeah, right now, or sure, or, that sort of thing. And you can, so then you correct. When you learn this relationship enhancing skill of seeing what's there and making sure you pay attention to what's there and very infrequently correct something that's missing, you end up with a long-term positive relationship with that child that you're investing all this time and effort with. And it's really, really key. It's one of the most important skills you could learn as a sport parent.